the Gryffindor house is all about SAR applications. It's about being the products of thought. And the thought members lie in Ravenclaw. So whenever there's a problem in the matter, that is if a SAR system has an issue, it goes to Ravenclaw. It says, folks in the Merikotka house, please help me solve this problem because we're having issues. Let's say we're having thermal noise issues or the system is failing, there's a performance issue. Then Merikotka with Luna Lovegood actually start thinking about the problem. And once they have found out a solution, the commercialization, the field experiments, the practical implications, the implementation, like when you're trying to introduce into the market, that house is the Gryffindor house. So anything to do with SAR applications is the Gryffindor house. The seabird was the toughest for me because I actually didn't want the seabird to be, this particular seabird to be the guardian, the Patronus of this house. But obviously, Gryffindor, it's all about bravery, and you need the beast who can charter uncharted territories. And which seabird comes to your mind the moment you start thinking about the sailor, the glider? It's obviously the albatross. It's also the rarest Patronus in the story. It actually fit in perfectly well, even though it wasn't my first choice, but it's the best Patronus, like the best guardian for this particular house. So the albatross is albatrossi in Finnish, but everything has to be prefixed with Meri. And what is the albatross? It's also an omen of good luck and bad luck for sailors who say that we don't want an albatross around the neck. So that's why the Finnish word is the sailor word. And the albatross is, for all practical purposes, it is the sailor of the sea and the sky. So this house is called Merimies. Just like Palomies, firemen, Merimies is a sailor. Any SAR application will fall in the house called Merimies. And the hippogriff is an animal I did like, a beast I did like in the series. So the hippogriff is the beast of the house. Buckbeak obviously is an example, but he has another interesting name called Wither Wings. And since Fraser has withered away, this seemed like the apt name for me, and it's the apt beast. And hippogriff was supposed to be executed in June 1993. This is related to Newt Scamander. His mom was a hippogriff breeder. Hippogriffs are definitely close to Newt Scamander, who's the headmaster. And when Buckbeak was to be executed, I think it was the prisoner of Azkaban, Newt Scamander was on the Marauders map. And there was one theory by the people in the Potter fandom saying that perhaps Newt was there to save the hippogriff there because that was his inspiration to get into Magi zoology. So that was one running theory, and I think that makes the most sense. And 93, right? So he was born in 1897 according to Wizard timeline. 90, he's not even 100 years old, so he's definitely fit and healthy to come and save Buckbeak, and that's why he showed up on the Marauders map. So hippogriff is the beast. It has all the qualities, main quality being bravery, but also the albatross Patronus is about being carefree, about being like the guardian. Patronus is guardian, but also someone who's like a healer, because a guardian could also be like seen as a healer, but at the same time it has a very independent nature to it, as in it doesn't seek validation from the outside. So the hippogriff is very self-sufficient. Since it's a hippogriff, the color is one of the hippogriff's color, so I had the option of brown, and brown is already in Hufflepuff, as in the orange-brown ochre. So Puna Ruskea is already the Hufflepuff house color, and then the second color is obviously, since it's a hippogriff, grey is one of my favorite colors as well. So I was a little confused, should I go with grey or black? But I think stormy grey, which is almost close to black, like on the darker side, so is one of the colors the hippogriff comes in, and that's why the house color is stormy grey. Stormy is Murskun, if I'm pronouncing this correctly. So the color is Murskun Harma. And even if you can't remember, even I might not remember. And that's why let's go with grey. So Harma is the color of this house. Gryffindor is Merimies, and the color of Merimies is Harma. Because this is the most fearless group, the song is Mayan Pelka by Lauri Tahaka. A brave group needs like a literally brave leader. I did see Hermione as a brave leader because she doesn't even have like a Patronus because she doesn't need one. She has all these giants around her, and plus she's so brilliant that I don't think fear would ever creep in, so she doesn't have a Patronus. And the people say, why didn't Hermione have a Patronus? And others were like, because a Patronus only comes when you go to your happy place or if you're passionate. Hermione was too much of an intellectual to have a Patronus. But I don't know, I kind of disagree with that theory. So my theory is that Hermione was so much like a Ravenclaw, and thought always thinks that it is the greatest thing of all. So fear doesn't creep in unless thought lets it creep in. But because Hermione is a Gryffindor, she has bravery in spades. It could be a characteristic, but also if you look at the people around her, there's a half giant around her. She knows all the spells. What does she have to fear? Even if something comes up which is extremely scary, she knows a spell and she can probably cook up a spell as well. She's that brilliant. So my view is that Hermione doesn't have a Patronus because she doesn't need one. The Gryffindor leader is someone who had a very similar history to Newt Scamander, someone who was expelled from school. And since Newt Scamander is a magi zoologist, and this is about magical creatures and beasts, and Hippogriff is one of his pets, the leader has to be the person who says, follow the spiders. So who was expelled because of his spider? It's Rubeus Hagrid. Rubeus Hagrid was born on December 6th, 1928. So you see the December 6th connection. Let me say another thing why Rubeus Hagrid falls as the apt person here. Because Newt Scamander was expelled because he took the blame for somebody else. Again here, Hagrid didn't take the blame, but he was expelled when he was in the third year by the same thing, the whole Myrtle Warren's death. And he was blamed, and so he was expelled. So that is that connection. But the connection to Newt Scamander is also with December 6th, because Newt Scamander left for the US to return Thunderbird on December 6th. So that story of 1926 that is set up there, he goes aboard a ship on December 6th. The school started in 1917. Newt Scamander was born in 1897. His book was commissioned in 1918. Rubeus Hagrid was born on December 6th, 1928. Dumbledore had picked up Tom Riddle from the same orphanage, and Tom Riddle was born 2 years before Rubeus Hagrid, so Tom Riddle was born on the 31st of December, 1926. And you see how all of this gets connected, because Newt's book came out in 27. Riddle was just a baby, and Rubeus was born 2 years later, and that's why I think all of these things fit together. He is the gamekeeper, he is the teacher who teaches the subject about caring for magical creatures. Care of magical creatures is the subject. He becomes the teacher in The Prisoner of Azkaban, and he gets a hippogriff in the third year itself. He decides to, I think the previous teacher used to get the hippogriff in the 5th year, but he decides to bring a hippogriff in the 3rd year. Hippogriffs inspired Newt Scamander because his mom was a hippogriff breeder, so there are a lot of those connections. And Rubeus Hagrid is one of my favorite characters. Luna Lovegood is one of my favorite. She and Hermione actually come pretty close, but I think I like Luna Lovegood more than I like Hermione, mainly because initially they were a tie, but when I came to know that Luna Lovegood was a magi zoologist, there was always a soft corner because she liked animals more and she could see the thestral, right? So she could see the thestral, and that's why she was anyways my favorite in that sense, slightly. But then she went up a notch because I came to know that she was a magi zoologist later in the year in a fictional story. So that's why she comes one level higher than Hermione, but I do like Hermione, is actually fascinating. But Rubeus Hagrid is above the two of them, and he is my second favorite. He's obviously, how can you not like a half giant? That freaking person was raising werewolves, had a Norwegian ridgeback dragon, had this freaking spider family in the Forbidden Forest, had Fluffy, had a hippogriff, could see thestrals, gave a talk on thestrals. Like, he's fearless. And a Patronus is a guardian. Why would he need a guardian when he is the guardian? He is the custodian of magical creatures. He is the teacher. And if he does need a guardian, I guess it's probably the headmaster of Freysden School. So Newt Scamander is his guardian. And he also had Albus Dumbledore, so then he doesn't definitely need one. As the albatross is the Patronus of this house, and it's also the rarest Patronus, my theory is that it can only be conjured or summoned by a true leader of Gryffindor who has to either be a gamekeeper, like a true magi zoologist, someone who truly loves animals. And that's why only Newt Scamander and Rubeus Hagrid and also Luna Lovegood can conjure this Patronus. As Luna Lovegood already has a Patronus, this Patronus can be summoned only by Rubeus Hagrid and Newt Scamander. That's why it's the rarest Patronus, only a true animal lover, in the sense that who have the spirit of Rubeus Hagrid or Newt Scamander. Newt Scamander says there are only blinkered people. So you have to fall in either of the two categories to summon this seabird. That's about Merry Mies.